I'm showing 9 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and call this advertised school board workshop into session. Again, if there are any questions or comments, colleagues, just let me know. Superintendent, same thing, of course, for you, sir. And, of course, the first item of business tonight will be called to order and then approval of the agenda. And so we do have one agenda change, and that will be the consent agenda. We've added item 7.23, amendment number 1 to Marathon Health Employee Clinic contract, and added item 7.24, tag on bid over $50,000 to Kickbox Leasing, presented by Ms. Sarah Cato, Risk Management, and recommended by the superintendent. All right, so those are the agenda changes that we have. And that will take us to Section 3, recognitions. There are none. Section 4, admin appointments. There are none. Section 5 will be public comment regarding agenda items. Section 6, we have no committee and staff reports, and that brings us now to the consent agenda. 7.1 will be the approval. 7.2, approval of the minutes of the workshop meeting of August 25th, 2025, and minutes of the regular meeting of August 25, 2025, and recommended by the superintendent. 7.3, appropriation of District 1 School Board member capital outlay funds to Elliott Point Elementary School for fencing in the amount of $4,612.54, presented by myself and recommended by the superintendent.
Chairman,
Yes,
I just
sir.
wanted to personally thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
I
Destin.
know that fencing's very important
Yeah.
to the
Oh,
folks
yeah.
over at Elliott Point, so deeply appreciate the help.
Well, thank you, and I know all of you have done the same thing for all the other schools in the county, and while we represent districts, we all know, and the public may not know sometimes, that we actually represent all schools in the county, so thank you, sir. All right, 7.4, appropriation of District 2 School Board member capital outlay funds to Elliott Point Elementary School for fencing in the amount of $2,500, presented by Mr. Parker Destin and recommended by the superintendent. 7.5, appropriation of District 3 School Board member capital outlay funds to Southside Primary School for playground materials in the amount of $5,000, presented by Ms. Linda Vanchek and recommended by the superintendent. 7.6, appropriation of District 4 School Board member capital outlay funds to Southside Primary School for playground materials in the amount of $5,914.25, presented by Mr. Tim Bryant and recommended by the superintendent for approval. 7.7, request to advertise a public hearing for revision of School Board Policy 04-28, Emergency Operations School Safety and Security, presented by Mr. Danny Dean, Director of Safe Schools, and recommended by the superintendent. 7.8, request to advertise a public hearing for revision of School Board Policy 04-49, District Harm Prevention and Threat Management, presented by Mr. Danny Dean, Director, Safe Schools, and recommended by the superintendent. 7.9, application for impact aid under PL 81-874 for fiscal year 25-26, naming the authorized representative and core user account signer, presented by Ms. Julie Perry, Chief Financial Officer, and recommended by the superintendent. 7.10, invoices to be approved for payment, presented by Ms. Perry, Chief Financial Officer, and recommended by the superintendent. 7.11, school donations, presented by Ms. Perry, Chief Financial Officer, and recommended by the superintendent.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
As usual, I'd like to point out that our great community added $44,800 this past period. So we get a total of $169,710 donations over $500.
Yes, sir. Thank you. All right, 7.12, Superintendent's Annual Financial Report and Program Cost Report for year ended June 30, 2025, presented by Ms. Julie Perry, Chief Financial Officer, and recommended by the superintendent. 7.13, revised fiscal year 2025-2026 child care fees for Southside Primary School, presented by Ms. Julie Perry, Chief Financial Officer, and recommended by the superintendent. 7.14, renewal of ITB 22-01, security fence bid district-wide, presented by Mr. Vince Wyndham, Program Director for Purchasing, and recommended by the Superintendent for approval. 7.15, tag-on bid purchase over $50,000 to Train, presented by Mr. Vince Wyndham, Program Director Purchasing, and recommended by the Superintendent. 7.16, tag-on bid purchase over $50,000 to Train, presented by Mr. Vince Wyndham, Purchasing, and recommended by the Superintendent. 7.17, tag-on bid purchase over $50,000 to Dale Earnhardt Jr. Chevrolet, presented by Mr. Wyndham, and recommended by the Superintendent. 7.18, exempted purchase over $50,000 to Pear Deck Learning, presented by Mr. Wyndham, Purchasing, and recommended by the Superintendent for approval.
I'm sorry, can we go back to
Yes, ma'am.
17?
Yes, ma'am,
The trucks.
7.17, okay.
So I think this is Mr. Meyer or? Yeah.
Mr. Wyndham.
Okay.
Well, recommended by Mr. Wyndham. Mr. Meyer?
Okay.
Anything on the?
On the trucks, okay, so we're buying these trucks for maintenance. So we haven't talked in a while about the status of those trucks that we have and that. So are we trying to get to where now we can start, kind of like we did with buses before, kind of getting to a program?
Yes, ma'am.
Because I know we do have some older vehicles that our employees are having to drive and keep repaired.
They are. We no longer have any in the 1900s, but we have some in the early 2000s.
Well, but we've got some over 200,000 miles.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So we're slowly trying
At
to
least we're in
replace
this
those.
century, like you
That's
said,
right.
yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this is this, so the first step, and you have, I'm sure, a plan to
Yes, ma'am.
looking at the oldest ones or the ones that need the most, like you said, because there's a lot of mileage.
That's right.
We have a lot of employees that travel the entire district, which, if you don't do that, go ahead and go up there from about Laurel Hill and head out to Florosa or Destin.
It does.
It's a haul, and,
does.
yeah,
It's a lot of
so,
miles on the vehicle, a lot of maintenance and upkeep. We try to keep them in good shape, but as they're 25-plus years old, we'll rotate those out and get new ones as the budget allows.
so we do our own maintenance?
We do when we can, but we have local auto shops that help us out.
Yeah, okay. So do you have any idea of, this is two, do we have any idea of what the plan is, or
We would like
we're
to
just kind of do what we
a
can?
few every year. We did 6 over the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So this year, we're going to do 2 more.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Do-
Well, I remember, when we replaced the courier van, and when I used to see that thing on the road, I did everything I could to stay away.
That's right.
Because
Yeah.
I think it had like the 300,000, some unbelievable.
It
And,
is. They
And it
have-
looked it too.
Yes, yes, sir. They have a lot of miles. So it's not just maintenance. We have to look at our safety, our
Mm-hmm.
couriers, transportation actually has vehicles that they use as well. So we try to rotate as we can.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Hunt.
question.
Yes, sir.
Do we use the CTE leg at all to work on some of our vehicles?
On occasion, they're not as fast as we need to sometimes, but they will look at our vehicles, and if we purchase the parts, they'll do the labor for free. It's just time sometimes
Sure,
gets in the way.
sure, timing, yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, these are new, so we get, I know Mr. Wyndham's really good about this, we get some warranty work
That's
too,
right.
right?
Yes, sir.
Right, okay.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Yeah, actually, Chairman,
Yeah.
I'm glad Linda spurred the conversation because it was kind of a question in my mind. How many fleet vehicles do we have approximately?
I may need to get back with you, but we're somewhere around the 80 just in maintenance, and then probably another 30 in other departments.
And I see occasionally when Julie brings an item where we will surplus some of the vehicles,
That's
send them
right.
out, recoup what we can.
That's right.
Outside of age, is there a mileage? What's the rubric by which we determine finally to let go of some of these older ones?
If we can reasonably fix the issue, we'll continue to maintain. And if the tires are in good shape and there's no holes in the floorboards, we'll continue to use the vehicle. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Destin, Mr. Meyer. Anything else on this item? All right, so I think, did we conclude 7.18? I think we
Yes, we
did.
did.
And we
And
got
then I
into-
asked to go back.
Right, we got into 7.19, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, amendment to service agreement number 26-40 S3 Strategies, presented by Mr. Wyndham Purchasing and recommended by the superintendent. 7.20, renewal of fuel purchasing agreement between Alamarte Fire District and the School Board of Okaloosa County, presented by Mr. Wyndham and recommended by the superintendent. 7.21, memo of understanding between the School Board of Okaloosa County and Lutheran Services Florida Okaloosa Head Start, submitted by Ms. Kathy Ard, ESE Director, and recommended by the superintendent. 7.22, school food services updated a la carte pricing for elementary and secondary schools for the 25-26 school year, presented by Mr. Anderson, Program Director, Food Services, and recommended by the superintendent.
And even though this went up, what a deal still for the meals. I think it's,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
I had a question.
Yes, sir.
Are any of these items, because I kind of know what a fruit roll-up kind of costs when I go to the grocery store. I kind of know what soft pretzels cost. Some of these prices are quite affordable. Do we sell any of the, is any of this stuff sold at basically a loss?
Not that I'm aware of. The state helps us with those prices, and yes, they're reasonable, and we do profit from those sales.
Just maybe not much.
Correct.
Okay. Thanks.
All right.
Probably they
thank you.
get so much bulk, so many, that it's a good deal.
75 cents for string cheese, that's a deal.
Well,
Yes.
in the old days, they called it commodities, and we got a lot of help from the federal government on those items, particularly cheese. All right. 7.23, amendment number 1 to Marathon Health Employee Clinic contract, presented by Ms. Sarah Cato, Director, Risk Management, and recommended by the superintendent for approval.
And Dr. White,
Yes, sir.
if you don't mind, just want to thank Dr. Hale, Ms. Cato, the BOG for this work. This is another example of what the board has asked us to do to be appropriately, I use the word aggressive, but appropriately aggressive in trying to do a great job with having services for our employees as it pertains to health care. And I also want to thank the operations department, because this is a cross-departmental work in order to get this done. And if you don't mind, I wanted Mrs. Cato to come up and just give a brief description of what we are trying to accomplish.
All right. I see Ms. Cato approaching. Welcome, Ms. Cato.
Hi, good morning. Yes, I would definitely second that this is a cross-departmental project. There were things that I wasn't aware of when I first brought the contract to the board, and then once we sat down with Mr. Meyer and Mr. Smith, and then again Vince Wyndham, we said, listen, it looks like it's all sealed up nice, but we really need to pull out that building and purchase it a different way. And that's what we're doing. So we're asking to amend the Marathon contract to remove any language about the building purchase. And then Vince Wyndham really went to task to find us one that was approved in the cooperative. And he did, and then that person actually corresponds with the same vendor that Marathon was going to use in the very beginning anyways to procure the building on our behalf. So it just worked out very well, but not with a lot of hard work from all of those people all rolled into one. So definitely a group effort, and now I think being able to pull that out of the contract, we're on another secure trajectory, and the next one you're going to talk about also, involves that building itself as well.
Okay, good. And you named a lot of good people and experts in the field that helped review all this. But there was one name that I always look for, I didn't hear, and that was
Mr. McGinnis,
Ah,
he
there
was
you
with
go.
us too. He was
I
with us
wanna make sure-
too.
I want to make sure the lawyer's
I
involved.
apologize, Mr. McGinnis. He was with us as well,
Okay.
and he was making sure we were on the straight and narrow for
Ah,
everything.
there you
Yes,
go. Okay, good.
I apologize.
And
No,
Ms.
it's okay.
Cato,
Colleagues, anything?
The superintendent.
Superintendent?
just give us a reminder of what this clinic will do, and then what is the future plans going forward throughout the county?
So this particular clinic will bring a lot of help medically to our employees. This will help navigate if you're looking to have maybe a cut on your finger or some kind of a sinus infection, those types of things, or stomach ache. Some of our people don't have a primary care physician anymore. And the reason why I'm just breaking it down that minute is because that is a problem in not only our district, but all kinds of districts, right? So we want to give our employees an opportunity to have that service instead of having, because on the flip side to that, on behind the scenes for the district itself, that is also a cost to us when they don't have a primary care physician they can go to and they have to go to urgent care or they have to go to the ER. It's not only costly for them out of their pockets under our plans, but it's costly for us on the district side. So what we want to do is build the clinic to meet their needs first. And then in addition to that, the return on investment for the insurance claims would be amazing for us because we're self-funded. We're responsible for those claims. And then in turn, we're hoping that return on investment would trickle back into for the employees where we can keep providing more products for them, like the Lantern, which is a great program that we have for surgeries and whatnot. Digby, which is looking at our biogut and microbiome health. Level 2, which is doing diabetes 2 and helping people reach those goals that they wouldn't have without those programs. So in the future, when you're asking what we're going to do in the future in the county, if we can get this one up successfully, which I'm very much so believing we will have it go live in January still. And we do have a backup plan if it happens to fade into February, but we're going to go on the straight and narrow that January is the go live date. But for future, if this one's up and running and going, we plan to also put one in the north and then in the central area as well so that we can meet the needs of all of our employees. So successfully getting this one up and running is of course our number one. And then we'll see how utilization goes. And then we have some plans to have some meetings over our open enrollment period, which is coming up, to really go out there and have some talks with our employees and explain what the employee clinic is going to mean to them and how it can meet their needs for them, their children, and their spouses.
Wow.
Okay.
Jenny, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to talk about the funding.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I'm listening.
Okay. Okay. So I'm reading, of course, it's from our self-funded health plan, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Is where the money's coming from. So this is not separate into any kind of other district money, right?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so everything's funded through that. So do you have any idea, like, when I'm not sure how to ask this, when the investment's going to kind of break even, you know what I'm saying? Is that we're putting this investment, typically if you're looking at other plans, it's like a year down the way, 2 years down the way, because you were just talking about it keeps people out of ERs and other things that are more costly.
Yes, ma'am.
So what do you think?
So originally, when I brought it to you guys and asked to approve the contract, I had mentioned that the return on investment isn't going to be right away.
Right.
I was very
Yes,
very
yeah.
open with that. My estimate would be 18 months, you would start seeing a return on investment.
Okay.
And that's kind of where I'm staying. I haven't budged from that. Could we see it sooner?
Yeah.
Possibly. I'd rather be very honest and open with you from the get-go so our expectations aren't hurt if that doesn't happen. Okay.
Right.
But also it's a plus if it comes through and we're like, wow, we got amazing utilization. My team went out there, we did what we were supposed to do. We got utilization and understanding built so that could be used appropriately. So there's a lot riding on our department to get all of those things out, and I'm bound and determined to make sure that everyone knows how to use it. So that we can get that return on investment, because that is a big deal, not only to the employees themselves, because you got to understand. I'm just going to give you one example.
Yeah.
You want to go get your blood work done, and your doctor, you have to see your normal doctor right now. And then you may have to have it go to LabCorp, and then you have a copay or maybe a deductible that has to be met before you hit that copay percentage, that kind of thing, depending on what plan you're in. Now, if that doctor says, hey, I want you to go get this blood work CBC drawn up, go get that taken care of, you can take that to our clinic once it's built, give it to our lab technicians, they'll run it for you, they will send it to your primary care, or they can tell it to you right there as well. And no money has come out of your pocket, nor our pockets for that, because we pay a monthly fee to that clinic to run that clinic for these things. It doesn't pass through claims. That's just one example.
That's great.
So if you start thinking of all the things that you have to have done that they can do instead on our behalf because we pay them to do those things, that's where you're going to start seeing your return on investment.
So it's going to have a lab.
Yes,
Are there
ma'am.
any other particular features? that they can have on that,
So it
on
would be
site?
your normal lab, so your analysis, you know.
But
blood
anything else like
draws.
can they do x-rays there?
They cannot do x-rays. That's a whole nother component.
Okay.
You're dealing with radiation, you have
Yeah.
to wear it, you have
Yeah.
to keep track of it, you have to have specific walls and
Yeah.
equipment, which is very costly. We
Okay.
could do it, but it's gonna cost a lot of money.
Right,
So
right.
We're
Yeah.
trying to do as much as we can without overdoing
Right.
it for right now,
Sure.
because, you know, it takes, I'm sorry. Yes, we're gonna have prescriptions on, oh, I'm sorry, Dr. Pep, I didn't realize you were there. Prescriptions are on site for generics. So they're gonna have probably close to 80 or so common generics that people use, so like blood pressure medications, antibiotics, you know, those types of things. So if you go for a sinus infection, right there, they put it in a prescription bottle, they put their labels on it, you walk away with it right then and there. They do have shipping to the home, so if you wanted to do a virtual visit and you needed it, they could get it to you. So it's a really great program,
And this is for anyone covered under our insurance.
our medical insurance, yes,
So
ma'am. Even
dependents
dependents
in-
that would be under our medical insurance.
Terrific. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, let's have a little bit further on that particular question. We have a number of retirees that participate in our insurance. Are they covered under this also?
Yes, sir, as long as they're on our medical
it.
insurance, they too, and now the only caveat to that, and this is not OCSD rules, this is Medicare rules. If they happen to have Part A or Part B Medicare, they cannot utilize the clinic because
Okay.
that's their
All
rules.
right, yeah, okay.
But if they're under our insurance and they're paying
they're-
a good penny
right.
to be on it, then they should be able to go to the clinic and they'll be allowed to.
Got it, okay.
Just wanted to, thanks for letting me come up here and just kind of interrupt, I'm sorry. Just wanted to say about 3 more things with regard to the return on the investment. And I think I caught some conversation that was happening as I was sitting back there. The key to the ROI is utilization. The more people that use it, the better off we're going to be because the more claims are diverted away from our claims bucket, so to speak. So it's going to be incumbent upon risk management and in our communication to get people using it. But that's also a key component to what Marathon provides within their services. They're very good at marketing. That's the second thing that I was going to say is that Marathon has an extensive track record of success in this very model that we are trying to do. This is not their first rodeo, and they have got proven techniques and proven systems to direct utilization toward the clinic, which then turns out to be a savings. Part of that is going to be something that Sarah didn't mention, but we've spoken about before, is things like alternative scheduling for employees. One of the hardest things for employees to do is take a day off work to go to the doctor because you can only get a doctor at certain times. Well, part of what Marathon and this clinic in Okaloosa County altogether is going to do is provide a more education setting friendly schedule for appointments and such like that. So that's going to be a benefit.
Will they be open on Saturday?
Yes.
Half day.
Oh, that's good.
So that's kind of 2 points that I wanted to make with regard to the return on investment. But the other thing that I wanted to mention is that the whole reason we are able to enter into this discussion now, it's almost a return investment in reverse. The reason we can do this is because of the 3 years of successful claims experience that we've had in our self-insured program. The money is there to do this now. And so that is something that I don't want us to forget about, is that our employees have done such a great job and risk management has done such a great job, and my fellow BOG members and I have been so cognizant of making good, responsible fiduciary decisions from a claims versus expense standpoint, that ROI, in essence, is in place already. So anything that we do, the better utilization that we can get, the more claims we divert away now is only going to be more of what we've already shown successful experience doing.
And Dr. Hale and Ms. Cato, I have a question along those lines, and I did just a cursory review of Marathon, but one of the frustrations that a lot of people have in healthcare is not only access, and you spoke about that because you said Saturday. I wondered, first of all, do you have any concept yet for how many folks might be working at this clinic run by Marathon?
Yes, so they, with our current plan, we have a provider and then an RN, which is the doctor that runs it,
Okay.
and then RN, and then we have 4 medical assistants.
Wow.
And how they set up their scheduling is right now they have if you look in the attachments, there is a blueprint, and you'll see there's like 4 or 5 exam rooms, and they set 2 up per provider and per RN when they go in there, our
okay.
physician's assistant.
Okay.
And then they just stagger the appointments
All
like
right.
that.
I understand.
Generally, they also allow walk-ins as well. They do virtual visits, so there really shouldn't be much downtime in the in-between because they're constantly flowing.
Well, yeah.
And so, there's also different things that they want to do, like for reaching out to people for the communications piece, so that they can make sure that, so say you came for your sinus infection I mentioned earlier. They do a workup with you, so if you need other things, they target those things. So they'll just leave you in the wind with your sinus infection. They say, oh, I see here your blood pressure may be a little high. Why don't we look at that? Let's talk about that. What does that look like for you? Those types of things.
Well, and that follows into my second question along the same lines, but Dr. Hale, you like to speak to
I
that?
was just going to mention that Mr. Strong pulled me aside. He did remind me also that our current staffing, or by current, our opening staffing, when this is to open, there is elements within the contract that allows us to expand services and allow them to expand their staffing as well, should the need arise. So I just
right.
wanted to make that clear as well.
That was my next question.
Okay.
I don't think we're gonna have a problem. I don't think we're gonna have a problem with utilization. I mean, the state of access in Okaloosa County is just horrific. One of the hurdles I've faced, I'm 40, I'm supposed to go get all sorts of new tests now.
Yeah, that's right.
And so, the problem is, my primary care physician is, he shifted, became a hospitalist. Super great guy. Now I'm left in the wind trying to find a primary care physician, which has been an odyssey, just so I can go get a referral to a specialist, where I know where I kind of need to go. But I got to go through the hoops of going through the gatekeeper to get to the specialist. Are we going to have some ability to refer folks?
Yes, so Marathon is set up with all of our contacts and UHC in-network providers. So if you were to go personally and need those, they would set you up with a person that's in-network and directly contact them. Now, most of our plans, and not a lot of people know this, but that used to be an old requirement to have a referral. But under the Affordable Care Act, you don't have to have a referral. You can make a phone call to who you would like to utilize, and then they'll run all the proper
Well,
documentation
let me,
for the
let me,
insurance.
well, well, that's the second
If
question
you can
I had.
find one,
But,
too.
well, and the other part of that is they have their own internal policies regarding accepting referrals.
I see.
And so that can, as you said, can get.
It can make it complicated for the
Absolutely,
patient.
absolutely. All right, so the other 2 questions real quick, and then I'll be through, is one of the things that I have liked a lot in some of the healthcare providers that we have is website access, a portal, if you will, directly to those providers. And I know we all call them providers now, but they're physicians. And so can you tell me about, is Marathon going to operate a portal that employees can go on and get their results and even communicate with their provider?
Yes, sir. So, and down the road, we can do a presentation where I can show you guys
Okay.
that portal
Yeah, yeah.
later on.
Okay.
Once we get everything
All right.
we're rocking and rolling here. But yes, I've personally seen that portal. I've used that portal
Okay.
from my previous life
Yes.
working under Marathon, with Marathon,
All
right?
right.
That portal is phenomenal. Not only can you watch videos about your health, but you can go and see your lab results
Good.
within 24 hours
Good.
posted on that
right.
site. You can take messages and create messages
Yep.
to your provider. They respond back to you.
Good.
They can email you. Let's say you left and you forgot your work excuse. They can email it to you. Maybe the child's
Yes.
excuse to return
Okay.
to school, they can email it to you. So it's just a really user-friendly website.
Awesome.
Everybody can be listed on there, and when you go to check for a provider for that day, they'll even say, hey, would you prefer this to be virtual, or do you want it in person? So they give you some options there, what works best for you. So it's a really great portal.
All right. And to follow up, whose phone system will they be using?
The school district's phone system, but they're providing their own phones. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, and I would just say that in some cases, I have heard that can be a frustration in getting messages and getting responses to messages. And so I was just curious about how Marathon might manage that phone system, the call-ins, the callbacks, et cetera, et cetera?
They do have a special person that they leave at the front desk at all times that's just
Okay.
operating for answering those phone calls, setting them up with the MAs that come in.
Okay, good.
And I will make sure that we do everything that we can. And I've told them, we've already, Dr. Helen and I sat down and talked with Paul Lutz, which is going to be the manager of the actual clinic staff
Okay.
for Marathon. And he said that, he's gonna, anytime there's an issue, he's gonna notify me. If I hear from the employees, I'm gonna notify him, and we're gonna address it
Okay.
immediately. So
Well-
if I find out that's happening, we'll make it better.
I would just say that along with Mr. Destin's comment, that will facilitate usage.
Yes,
if-
sir.
If all those things are taken care of. Awesome, very good. I'm sorry. Any other questions, colleagues?
Yes, Mr.
All
Chairman. I
right,
have
all right, Mr.
a
Hines.
couple of financial questions. On your handout you gave us, you have monthly pass-through costs, 300,000.
Yes, sir.
Can you define that?
Yes, so that is an estimate. It doesn't mean it's gonna ever be that much monthly.
Okay.
But this is based on not knowing what the pharmaceutical is going to be, because they purchase it wholesale, they pass the cost through to us, so it's not marked up for that. But I don't know how many antibiotics they're gonna give out, or how much of this, that, and the other, right? So this is just a compilation of what could be, and then also labs. Labs are at a pass-through cost as well. I don't know what those labs are that they're gonna be ordering for each individual employee. So those costs are just pass-through costs to us that we pay for.
Initially.
That's what we're gonna pay for, yeah.
Okay, so that's going to be ongoing?
Yes, sir.
Recurring? Okay. I think this is a great idea. I mean, and in the business world, an 18-month ROI is a no-brainer. I mean, so it's not, you said it was going to take a while. That's pretty fast in the business world. And so I think it's a great idea. And I think you're going to find your utilization rate pretty well, so you don't have to go to the ER, basically. So, but, okay, so yeah, so the bottom line from the previous board approval to now is 245,000
Yes, sir.
increase, okay. Sounds good.
Any other questions? Superintendent or Mr. Destin?
I have one quick one.
Okay,
Do we have
sure.
any sense, let's say that utilization is so high because access right now is so bad? I know, do we have any
clear.
sense of what happens if we find, I know, if I was a bus driver and I got a sinus infection, I know lots of decisions that get made from our employees and in my personal life, you go, I'm just gonna suffer through it, and so it never becomes a claim. But if I have access now, I may be far more likely to go get something sorted out that I otherwise previously ignored and never turned into a claim that was a cost. Is there any sense of that coming into play, like that may affect us? And I know that we have a significant cost savings by cutting out the third parties that would provide the services to us, but is there any sense that this could be too much of a good thing?
So I've thought through that myself, and I don't think that human nature is going to change anything. I think that there's going to be people that are going to continue to push through anyway. But what I would say is this: well bodies are less expensive than sick bodies. And so if they go and get utilization in a sense where they wouldn't have previously, that's only going to pay dividends down the road because of being well.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks.
Okay. Anything else?
All right.
Superintendent?
And the last thing I was going to say, but Dr. Hale mentioned it, we're here discussing this item because of the performance of the current insurance plan. And again, just thank
right.
the department, thank the BOG for the great work and working through this together.
Very good.
Thank you
Appreciate
for your
it.
time today.
Thank you, Ms. Cato. All right,
Good stuff.
okay. All right, so that takes us now to 7.24, the last item on consent. That would be the tag-on bid purchase over 50K to Kickbox Leasing, presented by Ms. Cato, Risk Management, and recommended by the superintendent. All right, so that brings us to Section 8, the Superintendent's Human Resources Recommendations. 8.1 and 8.2 are information-only items. 8.1, employees on admin leave, and then 8.2, deferred retirement program. All right, 8.3, these are action items. 8.3, cleared certification requirements and issuance of contracts for the 25-26 school year, presented by Ms. Duron, Program Director, Professional Services, and recommended by the superintendent. 8.4, out-of-field report for the 25-26 school year, presented by Ms. Duron and recommended by the superintendent. 8.5, employment separations presented by Dr. Hale and recommended by the superintendent. 8.6, personnel recommendations presented by Dr. Hale and recommended by the superintendent. 8.7, employee transfers presented by Dr. Hale and recommended by the superintendent. 8.8, reinstatement reimbursement of sick leave due to line of duty illness, injury, medical examination presented by Dr. Hale, assistant superintendent, and recommended by the superintendent. And then 8.9, leave without pay presented by Dr. Hale and recommended by the superintendent. That brings us to the discussion agenda. There are no items there at this time. And that takes us to section 10, 10.1, program status report by the board's representative. Mr. Heinley, what's the status?
Mr. Chairman, I have a meeting today at 11 o'clock,
All right.
so I will give a full report tonight, but I'll just touch on the paperwork that you have in front of you.
Okay.
And 10.2 through
All right.
10.4.
Yes, sir.
10.2 basically is Ruckle Middle School and Plu renovating the old cafeterias since we built the multipurpose rooms.
Yep.
That's a GMP for you to look at. 10.3 is Meigs Middle School, the gym, and we're doing more roof replacement than what we found when we're basically doing the gym and doing some bathrooms and what have you.
Okay.
So that's the scope modification.
All right.
And the last one, 10.4, roof replacement at Nice High School, has to do with the band room renovation, what we found there. So a
Okay.
little addition there.
Awesome. All right, and so those are all action items, and we'll vote on those tonight. And thank you, Mr. Heinley, for all your work on
Now,
that.
the Meg's Gym, you've been working on that, right? For a
Yep.
while?
Yeah, I mean, we got new flooring in there, we got bleachers and everything, and there was a area that water was coming
Yeah, they
down.
found a problem, I know.
And we knew about it, and it needs to be resolved, especially now that we got the new stuff.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you, Mr. Heinley and Ms. Evanchak.
We're being invaded.
All right, so section 11, Mr. Attorney, anything today?
No report this morning.
Thank you, sir. All right, Superintendent, your business, sir.
Just have a few things and then getting back to something that we did last year and just recognizing some of the outstanding work of departments. But I first want to just say thank you to our Student Services Department, specifically Mrs. Schroeder and her team. This past weekend, we had an event, and it was Bring Hope Now Dragon Boat Race. And this is a initiative across Okaloosa to really help with mental health. And as you know, we now have a care crew that is occurring in Okaloosa, and that is elementary through high school, and that is suicide prevention and awareness, and at the younger ages, it's about being kind. And we had a team that entered the boat race. There were about 15 teams. We got third place, and $20,000 going towards our initiative of mental health. And I do want to say, because these folks work extremely hard Monday through Friday, and to give up Saturday for such an amazing initiative is something that I just truly appreciate. So I want to say thank you. Also, just want to let the board know, going around to schools now, we're doing our A celebrations with all the schools. But I do want to pause there and say, you know, we have schools, and I've shared with you, schools that were Bs that went to stronger Bs, schools that were Cs went from Cs to Bs, and even schools that are Cs that went to stronger Cs. So we talk about growth, 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 and that's what we really care about. But we are going through the A celebrations, and did want to pass on to each of you as we go forward. I think I've hit 3 schools so far as we go forward, and if your calendars allow, I just would like for you all to be able to attend with me. It's nice to see not only the teachers, but staff, administrators, and everybody working together to achieve this goal. And as you know, the previous year we had 88% of our schools were A's and B's, which is fantastic. This year we were 92% A's and B's, which again, continuing with the growth mindset. So just appreciate the work of the schools. And then in that vein, just want to thank Mrs. Lightbourne and her group, specifically Mrs. Dale and Mrs. Tu with Ms. Lightbourne and their team. They're finalizing all school performance plans. Dr. White, you well remember creating those school performance plans.
And
but
sitting
it's,
through those interviews.
That's right. And this is a process for the curriculum department that is cyclical It's ongoing all year. But specifically for the 2025-2026 school year, it starts in the January timeframe, and now it's about to wrap up. So that's a huge endeavor, and it should be the pulse and the heartbeat of what's occurring in schools. Do want to just say at the next meeting, I will not be here at the next meeting. I have an FHSAA board meeting that I'll be at on Sunday and Monday, and then have to go down to, I believe, Orlando for our superintendent's meeting. So we will have capable staff who will be here during that time, but at that meeting, I do want to say this is where we will bring forth and requesting permission to advertise the zoning plan for Pineview, and obviously that is an impact in the north end of the county. I do want to say right now, since I won't be here that day, this has been months upon months upon months in the making. Also working with an outside entity whose job is exactly this, looking at zoning. I just want to thank Mr. Spolsky, his team, specifically Ms. Ross, Ms. Meserve, and others who've really put a lot of time and energy into this. We will be meeting with each of you individually as we go through this process, but a lot of time, effort, looking at highways as boundaries, looking at rivers and natural barriers as boundaries, and trying to do this in the most logical way. So I just really appreciate that. And if there are no questions, I'm going to turn it over to to Dr. Hale, who would like to come forward. And this will be something that we're going to do for the next several board meetings, is highlight those who are behind the scenes who do great work for this district. And it's not only about what happens at the schools, which is our main focus, but it's about all those in Okaloosa County who help this engine run.
Okay.
So good morning once again, and thank you, Superintendent, for allowing me to come up here and brag a bit. I'm going to start off by giving you a little bit of data. Since April 1st, there have been 625 hires in this district across all different categories, whether it be instructional, support, supplemental coaches, substitutes, administrators, doesn't make any difference. 625 new faces have been hired into this district since April 1st, 495 just since July. And so those are substantial numbers when you realize that to bring someone on board in the Okaloosa County School District, there is an extremely rigorous vetting process that has to go through just to be approved, including everything from filling out an applications and getting job references, for instructional people getting their education on board so that you can credit them appropriately and things like that, through fingerprinting. And as you know, as we've told you ad nauseum in the last several weeks, there's a new fingerprinting system that has been legislated, and so we are learning that rigorous program as well. So there's a whole lot of activity going on in the HR department, and all of that since April 1st has contributed to this morning, today, we have 20 instructional vacancies across the entire district. That is a low since 2019. And that's just when I kept the records. I don't know, it could be lower even since then, but since 2019, we have never had a day in this district where we had that few vacancies. So when you're talking about all of this activity and all of this process, it takes a really, really capable, a really, really selfless set of professionals to accomplish this. And so I'm excited today to ask the HR department to stand up. I'm going to kind of just describe a little bit about what they do. We've got, of course, we've got our building level administrators in here supporting. Ms. Huffstutler does a good job of running the HR department under the guidance of Ms. Maxey. We've got our hiring analysts and our secretarial staff that do everything that involves communicating with these applicants and getting these applications pushed through, fingerprinting, just lots of conversations. Things go wrong with focus. How do I handle that? So that's a great thing. One thing I don't want to forget to say is that anytime there's a vacancy, there's a process that goes in front of that that enables us to be able to hire those people. We have a lot of retirees. I know Ms. Wright herself has processed over 70 retirees since April. Those are vacancies, and of course, transfers and all the different things. There's a lot of people touching a lot of people in their applications. And so we've got our hiring analysts, we've got our fingerprint specialists, we've got our position control people that are really the crux of this. They communicate not only with the HR team, but also the finance team to make sure that we're not just hiring people, but we're hiring people that we have funded and things like that. That's important. Ms. Mayville, Ms. Ward, who's not here today, in charge of that. And of course, I can't say enough about Ms. Medina, Ms. Santos, Ms. Mercado. They are the front lines, meeting all these people. And of course, my rock and the person that is really kind of quarterbacking things behind the scenes, Ms. Donaldson. Love having her in the office as well. So just wanted to highlight the HR department and what they bring to the district. They are low-key in the background, but without them, we couldn't get these schools staffed. And so my hat's off to them.
And Dr. White, I want to add one thing this year as the department's come forward. We're going to choose one person to come up and give just a short 5-minute speech about what it means to be in a department. So I'm looking for a volunteer back there in the HR.
I think it should be May Davis.
Just messing with you. She was coming.
All right, so that's HR. And,
Yes, sir.
and we know how important that is. And I see Bill Smith sitting back there. And Bill, it's a lot different than when me and you got hired on. I remember I met with the assistant superintendent and I think Miss Tarbuck, and that was it. And my application, and I got to be careful, it might still be on file, but it was done with ink, handwritten, because there wasn't any other way to do it because you couldn't fit it all in a typewriter. And Bill, I'm sure you probably remember that too. But I'll just say this: you folks do an awesome job with a tremendous responsibility. That I know that you have to do a lot of things. And it's a lot more complicated now than it ever used to be. And we just appreciate you because without you, we wouldn't have all these good folks hired to teach our kids. So thank you for doing that. And we're very, very grateful. Colleagues,
Mr.
anything?
Chairman, what's a typewriter?
But it wasn't electric either.
Didn't have those at all?
Don't even try it, Heinley. You're not that young. So, no, I just want to say not only are they professional, but all of them are so pleasant. Every time I've ever had to go and speak to any of them or see them, they always have such a good attitude. And I'm sure there are days there would be good cause to not have a good attitude. But I appreciate you doing it with a smile and doing it so well. Thank you. We do really appreciate what you do.
All right, Superintendent, unless there's anything else, colleagues. Okay, that's it?
Thank you.
Okay. All right, Superintendent's concluded his business, and that takes us now to board members' announcements. And we do have an action item, and you folks will remember that state law now requires that when school board members make a travel request, that is an item to be voted on by the school board, and we'll have that this evening. That'll be 13.1. Then we come to board members' announcements. And so, Mr. Heinley, sir, I'll start with you.
Okay, so when I was in the Air Force, I was taught early on that sergeants run the Air Force, and you got to find the right person. They hold the real power, and they make things happen. So I got an email. We were not supposed to be in here today. We were supposed to be in the other boardroom. And I got an email from Amber Flanagan. So I found out she's the true power behind Grant Meyer. And she took the hit for us not being in the real boardroom today, and she also declared that we will be there in the next board meeting. So thank you for Amber, for you getting Amber.
Mr. Meyer didn't want to send that out.
You can blame her if we're still in here next time.
Yeah. You see, Mr. Heinley serves as our construction manager, and he wanted to make sure we knew.
That's right, that's right. That was CYA right there. Okay, to keep the tradition, today is the 8th day of the month. Mr. Board members, and Soup, if you want to join in. Mr. McGinnis, who was the 8th President of the United States?
That would be Van Buren.
You are correct. And for Mr. Parker, 8 plus 31 is 39. Who is the 39th President of the United States?
Let's see, 39. I didn't think about getting put on the spot today, so let's see. Is that Carter?
That is Carter. Very
Oh, I
well
want to
done.
give you a little fact on the Van Buren guy. Did you know that he was the first president to be an American citizen? He was
Yes.
born in America, so there you go. So,
That was Van Buren, was the first?
yep.
His family is from, they were Dutch.
That's right.
No?
All
Very
right.
well done.
That's it?
That's it. That's
Oh,
all I
wow,
got.
okay.
Okay,
Well, first
all
of
right,
all,
Mr. Van
I just want to say about my concerns, although I'll probably vote for it tonight, that we're going to let Mr. Bryant and Mr. Destin and Mr. Heinley all head to this convention together. It's going to be interesting. So, yeah, okay. So I think that's going to be one of those, where y'all going, Tampa? What happens in Tampa stays in Tampa kind of things, but, yeah. Okay. Couple of things I have to do. So first of all, where's Miss Duron? There she is. I want to talk about Miss Duron a minute. She came to the foundation meeting, the last foundation meeting, and she did a superb job of speaking to the foundation members about what's going on in getting people certified today, because many of the people in that foundation pretty much think that the traditional way, like I became a teacher and so forth. And she did it was a very eye-opening to those members to know the various ways that people get into education today. And she made it simple. She explained how it all happened and career changers and all that. So I just want to give a little shout out to her because she really did a very good job. And I think the public needs to know that things are different probably than when most of them watching went to school and how those professionals came into the classroom. So thank you for that, Ms. Duran. All right. And I'm excited that along with Choctaw, the Baker Gators are the two teams that are 3-0. So it was exciting to go to Destin High School, where our former colleague, Dr. Kelly, is the principal. I almost said president. That'd probably work for her. And went there, and of course, the Gators prevailed. And I was excited because I was asked to do the coin toss for that game. Another thing I've never done before, so that was a lot of fun. And I didn't mess it up, and it got done, so that was good. All right, let's talk about the foundation. And so, first of all, Take Stock in Children. You know, that program's been around 29 years, believe it or not. And so our group has, our Take Stock in Children has won the prestigious Luminary Award and has received gold level recognition for earning a perfect score on the assessment scorecard. So that is quite an achievement, and I'm very excited for them. And a lot of that goes to Christy Evans, used to be the Student Services Coordinator in the last year. Now we have Patrice Bobo Miles and Lori Lipnicki, who does the college readiness as readiness coach. So shout out to them and doing a great job with that program. We currently have 64 students in our Take Stock program. That's exciting coming along with that. We're going to be having our barbecue and bingo fundraiser in November. Hope all of you will attend that. It's a lot of fun. Also, I've talked about Stuff the Bus, but Ms. Tate wanted me to go back and mention that besides people showing up at Walmart, we had 14 local businesses who took up supplies at their business site and turned it over to us. And the Fort Walton Beach, members of the Fort Walton Beach Women's Club, which I happen to be a member of, came in and sorted all of those and got them out to all the schools and everything. So we appreciate them doing that. And then back in the spring, we told you about a Florida Power and Light grant, a classroom makeover grant that was awarded to the ROTC program at Choctaw High School. So we went there and presented it. Well, they have used that money and redone their aerospace lab in there, and that's going to be revealed on September 23rd. I know the board members and everyone will get an invitation, but it's exciting to see that come along. So On the 23rd, we'll get to see what they've done in there, and knowing Colonel Lasby, it's going to be quite a thing. So we'll be heading over to Choctaw for that, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Destin?
Nothing in particular this morning. I might have a couple of fun things in the evening, but nothing today.
Well, we can't wait.
It's now or never, Parker.
All right. And then I'll just say congratulations to the Choctaw football team. You might have heard that Mr. Bryant challenged me with the T-shirt challenge, and he's not here today. However, I did hear that he posted a photo of him wearing a Choctaw shirt. I think, was it in Washington? Is
He's
that
in
correct?
Washington, D.C.
Yeah, so that's pretty good. So that's pretty good. Well, that's all the board members' announcements that we have for this evening. That takes us to section 14, public comment, and then we move into a litany of public hearings. Now, these are the budgetary public hearings, and we do have some instructional materials and so forth, but I think it's important that we go through each one of these for members of the public who might be listening today and be interested in the subject matter here. All right, 15.1, a public hearing for the adoption of instructional materials for secondary science and career and technical education, reproductive health, and disease education for the 25-26 school year, presented by Ms. Ellis, science specialist, curriculum and instruction, and recommended by the superintendent. 15.2, public hearing for the adoption of a new job description for athletic trainer, presented by Dr. Hale and recommended by the superintendent for approval. 15.3, public hearing for adoption of a new job description for specialist public information officer, presented by Dr. Hale and recommended by the superintendent. 15.4, public hearing for the adoption of a new job description for program director of federal programs, presented by Dr. Hale and recommended by the superintendent. All right, and here goes the budgetary ones. 15.5, required local effort millage rate, presented by Ms. Perry, Chief Financial Officer, and recommended by the superintendent. 15.6, basic discretionary operating millage rate of .7480 mils, presented by Ms. Perry and recommended by the superintendent. 15.7, capital outlay millage rate of 1.5 mils, presented by Ms. Perry and recommended by the superintendent. 15.8, total millage levy, presented by Ms. Perry and recommended by the superintendent. 15.9, Resolution 25-08, adopting the millage rates for fiscal year 2025-2026, presented by Ms. Perry, Chief Financial Officer, and recommended by the superintendent. 15.10, Okaloosa County School District Budget, General Fund for fiscal year 25-26, presented by Ms. Perry and recommended by the superintendent. 15.11, Okaloosa County School District Budget, Special Revenue Funds, Food Service for fiscal year 25-26, presented by Ms. Perry and recommended by the superintendent. 15.12, Okaloosa County School District Budget, Special Revenue Funds, Other Federal Programs, Fund 420 for fiscal year 25-26, presented by Ms. Perry and recommended by the superintendent. 15.13, Okaloosa County School District Budget, Special Revenue Funds, Miscellaneous Internal Funds, Fund 490 for fiscal year 2025-2026, presented by Ms. Perry, Chief Financial Officer. 15.14, Okaloosa County School District Budget, Debt Service Funds for fiscal year 25-26, presented by Ms. Perry and recommended by the superintendent. 15.15, Okaloosa County School District Budget, Capital Project Funds for fiscal year 25-26, presented by Ms. Perry and recommended by the superintendent. 15.16, Okaloosa County School District Budget, Internal Service Funds for fiscal year 25-26, presented by Ms. Perry and recommended by the superintendent. 15.17, Okaloosa County School District Budget for fiscal year 25-26, presented by Ms. Perry and recommended by the superintendent. And then 15.18, Resolution 25-09, adopting the Okaloosa County School District Budget for fiscal year 25-26, presented by Ms. Perry, Chief Financial Officer, and recommended by the superintendent for approval. And that takes us through all of the public hearings this evening. All right, colleagues, that gets us through the agenda. Superintendent, anything further? Mr. McInnes, we're good? All right. Associations, anything? Staff, we're all good? This meeting is adjourned.